Hello and welcome back. It's puzzle time with Sudoku Sleuth, and today we're going to be playing Casting About in the Dark. Now, if you are casting about in the dark, you should be doing what Sleuth is doing here, which is grab a flashlight. Make sure you can actually see where you're going and what you're looking for. Otherwise, it's going to be a lot harder if you're just fumbling about, feeling for whatever object that you're actually looking for. Now, this particular puzzle was actually recommended to me by the constructors. So after seeing my solve for circling the drain, FullDeck and missing a few cards did point out that they did rate the puzzle as 2 stars. I would agree. And that there is indeed another 1-star puzzle from theirs that they do recommend. So I'm really looking forward to that. I know that we're in for a good time when it's a puzzle recommended by the constructors. Now, when I do bring up this puzzle and the rule set, I do actually have a visual aid. Because, actually, let me just do that. Let me bring up the puzzle and the rules. So, Casting About in the Dark by FullDeck and missing a few cards. Now, a lot of the rules are going to be fairly easy to explain despite the fact that the entire grid is covered in fog. Except for the pointing thermometers. But luckily, they give credit to Arbitrary, who's the original constructor of this particular variant rule. And I do have some visual aids to actually help me explain what is going on here. First off, normal Sudoku rules apply. That means place the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, in every column, and in every 3x3 box, if I can select one. Then we have kind of the other obvious statement, fog. Parts of the grid is covered with fog. A correctly placed digit, the fog will clear the fog from the surrounding cells. So, for example, if this cell here was a 2, then all of the surrounding cells around it will be cleared of the fog, and hopefully that will give us a few more clues for us to be able to move forward. Now, they stress the point there is always enough information in the revealed portion of the grid to place another correct digit without guessing. So digits should be, because sometimes the digits can be placed within the fog. So I guess at some point we may determine that, for example, this cell here is a 2, even though we have information nowhere near it to actually tell us that, but could be across the grid, and we will still be able to do so. So, interesting. Consecutive digits. So digits separated by a white dot are consecutive, and not all possible dots are necessarily given. So if you suspend your kind of disbelief for a moment, and imagine this pink cross, pink, magenta, purple, that one of the cells was a 2, and that this cross is actually a white dot. What that's saying is that this cell has to be consecutive with the 2, and that could be a 1 or a 3 for it to be indeed consecutive. The fact that not all possible dots are given, if that cell here was a 3, and there is no white dot connecting them, that's absolutely fine. Negative constraints do not apply. Right, here's the tricky bit. Pointing thermometers. So, digits along thermometers must strictly increase from the bulb to the tip. Fairly standard. However, the variant bit on thermometers here is, in addition, the digit in the bulb of the thermometer appears X cells away from the tip in the direction pointed to by the tip, where X is the value in the tip of the thermometer. Now, that's a bunch of complicated sentences that I knew I was not going to be able to stand the chance of explaining when the grid is covered in fog. So, helpfully, we did actually solve this particular puzzle before on the channel, which is pointing thermos from Arbitrary. And if you just focus on this explanation that he has given, where there's already a grid here, and you can see a thermometer and a bunch of digits already placed on it. So the idea is that the number 1, because it's in the bulb, is somewhere along the diagonal pointed to by this thermometer, specifically pointed to by the tip. So you take a look at what the tip is, you look at the digits inside the tip, and essentially you count that number of cells away from that tip. So 1, 2, 3 has to have the same digit as whatever's inside the bulb. That's what pointing thermos are all about. And then, of course, there is the usual rule sets, which is that digits increase from the bulb to the end. So that's all the rules we have for today. Now, hopefully we have enough information to actually break into the puzzle. As always, if you want to play along, link will be in the description down below for you to do so. And with that said, I'm going to restart the clock and see how I get on. And immediately as I start the solve, I'm actually going to hit the pause button and unpaused. Okay. So clearly we are being pointed towards the pointing thermometer. And the tip is somewhere in the vicinity around here. We don't even know. It could even be looping around for all we care. So what can this value be? Well, it can't be a 1 because there's clearly a digit at the minimum to its right. This is not the bulb. It could be 2, it could be 3, and obviously you could go all the way up to 9, but not on a pointing thermometer. Because what that's saying is wherever the digit is on the bulb, it can only be 1, 2, or 3 cells away. Obviously, if I try and go for a digit that is larger, I would fall off the grid. So this is a maximum of 3. Now, if that is a 2, this would obviously be the 1, that would be the bulb, and then 1, 2 would put another 1 in here, and then that would break Sudoku rules. So this is definitely a 3. And then the rest of the thermometer that's revealed, that's definitely a 2, that's definitely a 1. We have our break-in. Around a minute, that's always a pleasure when you do so. Where do we go from here? Yeah, same trick again with pointing thermometer. So whatever this cell is, it can't be in the same box. It's either this cell, or this cell. And it's either essentially not 1, 2 is not available, so it's either 3 or 4. And this is, following normal thermometer rules, well, it's going to have to decrease, and that can't be a 1, so that's 2, that's 3, that's 4. At 1, 2, 3, 4 cells away is another 2. Lovely. I didn't actually place the 1. 1, 2, 3, that's a 1. Excellent. Let's think about, so I imagine that this is the end. But technically speaking, if it turns, I'm not really going to be able to see that at this point. Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe we can do something with this. So this is at least a 3 because it's not 2 and it has to be bigger than 1. This is at least a 4. Well, let's just think about what that means. 1, 2, 3, 4, that would be a 1. And that seems entirely possible. And it could be 5, 6, or 7. Not off to a great start here. 4, 5, 6. I did remove the 3. Why did I remove the 3? And this is at least a 3. Again, it can't be a 2. Then 4, then 5, then 6. And it would, if this is 6 and this is the end. Actually, I think it has to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You see, if I go any bigger, the thermometer, well, I mean, we can see that the thermometer is not going to wind its way all over the place because it's a maximum of 9 cells long. Whatever cells that it could be, let's say this is 7, 8, 9, I'm going to have a problem because whatever it ends, it has to be 9 cells away or 8 cells away. So this has to be 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And if it gets any bigger than 6 and it is the minimum, we're in trouble. So I think that is good enough. I think that is a 6. 5, 4, 3. That removes a 3. That removes a 4. And that gives me a 1 all the way across. Fantastic. That is now pointing at a 1 that is clearly not in box 5. So it's a minimum of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. So this is 4, 5, or 6. With a 1 clearly in neither of these cells. So it's not even a 6 because that can't be a 1. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, not 6. And therefore this is, I guess just, does that work? 1, 2, 3, 4 works, and then 1, 3, 4, 5 works. That's all looking good. And actually Sudoku, look at me doing Sudoku. 2s and 3s both have to be in row 6 here in box 6. So that's the only one that can be a 2. That's the only one that can be a 3. Doesn't actually help us with the 4 or 5, but I'll take it. Right, 1. Well, it can be, so this is pointing at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. It can't be 7 anymore. So 7 is gone, and therefore 6 is gone from here, and 1 is one of these two cells. Now, same logic that we used actually in the beginning with whatever was kind of concealed here. If that's a 1, that would be a 2, and it says 1, 2 would be a 1 in repeating in the column and in the box. So that can't be the 1, that is the 1. And that's going to be pointing to at least 1, 2, 3, 4. That's not possible because it would be consecutive with 4 or 5. 5, 6. Excellent. Right. Oh, that gives me whatever this is. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is actually 6, which doesn't help me with my 4 or 5. We know that 1 is one of these two cells. Just Sudoku. And if it is in here, that would have to be a reasonably high digit. So that will be 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 works because I can actually place it in exactly in here. Okay. Not where we should be looking next at this point. You see, something that's interesting is that I've already placed 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I know that this cell is not a 5. In fact, where does 5 go? It's not here. It's not there. One of these cells is 5, and it can't be this one because nothing is smaller. So 5 is in one of these two cells, making this a 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That makes that a 1. That is now curling up and very possibly looking at this one, which is actually also looking back at it. Tempting. And it may well be actually, because this is definitely pointing at a 1 in this column, and it can't be pointing at anything up to here. So it's definitely this one, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cells away. That's a 5. And these are 2 or 3, 3 or 4. Not 3, obvious, 4. 2 or 3 both work. And this is definitely pointing at this one now. So this is, let me remind myself, I think it was 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that is 4. This is 2 or 3. That's a 2, 3 pair in a column. Lovely. That 4 gave me a 5 in here, so that's resolved. We need a 4, which can be only one of these two cells now, just Sudoku. We've done a lot of 1s. I'm just trying to think about where are the others. Can this be a 1? Yes, that could be a 2. So that's 1s. Am I going to keep doing this? Not really. Yeah, moving on. Right. So what can this cell be? Well, it's 2 or 3 only. It can't be 4, it can't be 5, and it can't be 6, and obviously it can't be bigger. So this is 2 or 3. This is going to have to be, so it's pointing at a cell in this direction. And given we can't even place a 5, this is at least a 6, which would mean 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's a maximum of 7 as well. And therefore this would have to be 3 or 4, because it's pointing to one of these two cells, and it's not a 3. It's a 4, therefore a 6, because it's pointing at this one, and therefore a 5. And this can't be a 5 in consecutive, so this has to be a 7. And this is an 8, 9 pair. Rest of this now is 7, 8, 9. And because one of them is a 7, since this one isn't, that's got to be a 7, 8 pair. And that's a 9. That's an 8. That is a 9. And these two are 6, 7, 8. May want to wait to see. Go on, I'll treat myself. Some pencil marks. They're definite 6. 2 and 3 are not here in row 2. Not there. That's the other 2, 3, except it's not a 2. That's a 3. That's a 2. Lovely. 2 and 3 are also, let me just show you. Well, none of these cells. And also not this cell. That's another 2, 3. These are now 7, 8, 9s. I've just been focused on the lower digits just because we've got so many of them. This 4 here is pointing towards a 3 or 5, both of which are still available. Okay. These cells are 7, 8, 9. Can I not do anything with these 7, 8s and 8, 9s? This could be 6, 7, 8, 9. Not brilliant. And then 7, 8, 9. You know how I said I'm not going to pencil mark them, and then lo and behold. Right, so this digit is either a 5 or a 7, 8, 9. If it's 5, it's pointing towards 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is 5 or 7. Given it can only point to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It can only point towards a cell that is a maximum of 7 cells away. And if it's 7, well, this would have to be 5, certainly. Because if that's 7, that's 8, that's 9. Yeah, so that would have to be 5. And if it is 5, well, I'm in trouble because I don't have anything that's smaller. 1, 2, 3, and 4 are all gone. So that is 7, that is 5, that is 8, that is 7. That removes 7 from here. That's a 6, 8 pair. That's a 7, 9 pair. That 7 and 8 gave me a 9. And this is a 7, 8 pair. Right, so this is 6 or 8 now. Odd will be consecutive to even. This 7 is pointing towards a digit. It's pointing towards a 2, 3. And it's not a 3, it's a 2. And therefore that's a 2, therefore that's a 3. And this cell is pointing towards that 2. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cells away. That's a 5. And this is not 4, it's a 3. Excellent. We're getting somewhere, aren't we? This is 6 or 8. In fact, that 6 resolves it. No need to pencil mark. Sleuth. So that's 6, that's 8. We have another 6, 8, which is not this cell. Plus what else? 7 and 9. I mean, 7 and 9, there's 2 of them in here to complete row 2. Then the rest of this I have 4, 5, 6, it looks like. Anything significant there? I mean, 4 and 5 are not here, but it could still be a bunch of things with 6, 7, and 9. So 3 gave me a 5, which gave me a 6, which is pointing towards 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now these two cells are 3 and 7. That 3 tells me that's the 3, that's the 7, which gives me an 8, gives me a 7, gives me a 9, gives me another 7, which is either. Well, not either, that's not an 8, that's a 6. And this, to finish the column, is 4 or 9. That 2, which I placed a while ago, I just sort of ignored. This is 1, 2, you can see it's not this cell, and 8. Because of this 1, 2. And obviously to be consecutive anyway. And right, what else are we left with? Another couple of cells which we know the 8 can only be in here. This has to be a 5, I'm going to say. These two cells are known, they are 5, 9, and that 5 actually gives me an order, no need to pencil mark. This is 4, 6, that's the 4, that's the 6. Yeah, that 6 gave me an 8 and a 6, and therefore this is 7 or 9, which is not resolved. Right, rest of this is another 2 sets of 7, 8, 9, and a 1, which I still haven't placed. No 8 in the column, which means the 8 is in this column, and therefore that's a 7. And there's an 8 just there. I mean, Sleuth, come on. That's 9, that's 7. And therefore this is, what was it? 1, 8, 9? Not 1 or 8, that's just 9. And that 9 gave me 4 and 9. That 3 can't be, well, no, it can be. It's 2 or 4, both of which are still available, amazingly. And the rest of this is 2, 4, 9. The 9 can only be in here, if I can type. And therefore this is the 2 because it's not the 4, so that's... I'm being blind. What am I missing? I need a pair of 2, 4. What have I done? I have done something. That 9 was correct because of the 1, 8. Huh? Right, so apparently this is an 8. Yes, that reveals the grid, which gives me 1, 2, 4. Okay, gives me 1, 8. Still fine. I can't believe what typo did I make, but clearly made one. And therefore, must have been something with the 9s. If I can figure this out. Am I going to have to unwind? I may well need to. That's 6, that's 7. Yeah, I've messed up somewhere. Come on, Sleuth. Such an approachable puzzle. So I made like a deduction here, where I said this has to be a 7, this has to be a 9, and this has to be a 7. And now I'm kind of sticking with that one, and therefore this is 189. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That looks good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 looks good to me. 1, 2, 3, 4 looks good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, kind of happy with all of that. Did I make a mistake with one of these? Must have been an earlier one. So the 6 is correct. And therefore the 7 is not. But how is it not correct? Yeah, I solved that 6, 8 pair. No. Yeah, so this was 4, 6. And then I looked at the 4, which is correct. 1, 2, 3, 4. And therefore placed the 4. And then placed the 6. Which placed the 8. Placed the 6. Placed the 7. Placed the 9. So I really am not getting what I'm doing wrong. I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that 7. Happy with that 8. I'm happy with that 7. Therefore, I'm happy with that 9. I'm happy with that 7. This is a 6, which the fog is confirming. And this is 4, 9. And then, yeah, that 2 gave me a 3, which gives me a 1, 2, and an 8. So, I mean, and the 8 is confirmed. So this is all pretty consistent. This is 2 or 4. This is 5 and 8. What did I do with that cell? Is that the problem? Probably. That's another 6. No, I've already placed a 6. The 6 is up here. So I'm so confused. That 8 gave me a 5 and an 8. And then we're back to that 4, 6 and that deadly pattern. And in here is 5, 9. That's the 5, that's the 9. And if I'm not careful, I'm repeating exactly the same challenge. So if I put a 7 in here, it doesn't work. So the 6 is correct. This is 7, 8. That's the 7. That's the 8. If I remove that 6. So this is all correct. And therefore the rest of this is a 9 and a 2, 4. So 2, 9, 4, 9, which gives me a 4, 9 pair, which gives me a 7, and 9, a 7. So I've clearly made a mistake somewhere else. With 4 and 6, 8 and 6. Was I just struggling to type? 9, 2, I mean, it wouldn't be uncommon. And an 8, and a 2, and a 4. What is this cell? A 1, and a 9, and a 4, and a 9. I mean, it's a lovely puzzle. Bit of a clumsy solve at the end. I still don't know what I made as a mistake. The 4 and the 6 are consistent, which gave me the 8. Right, so I assumed that was a 7 rather than 7, 9, and there was no reason for that. I think that's the problem that I made for myself. Anyhow, hope that you guys enjoyed the puzzle. It is a 1-star difficulty rating. Ignore what I've just done. And see you back for the next one. Bye-bye for now.